Hi, it's Karen with Sacred Quilt, and today I wanted to show you circles. I want to show you how I do this technique, which is basically Drunkard's path. Not too difficult, but if you're a new sewer, it's worth looking at. And then I want to show you this other circle that I do that doesn't really require any curved seam piecing. And you could see I had a lot of fun with this, just fussy cutting my circles. Okay, so to show you this sewing first, I have marked the center of this line and I notched it. So I do have a little notch in there, and I'm going to put a pin there. And I also want you to see that the rest of this is notched every so often. And that's really the key to curved seam piecing. And what you also want to remember with curved seam piecing is you're only worried about the fabric that's under the needle, because the rest of it around the front and the back will feel wonky. So what I like to do, this edge is not notched. I take it back. This edge has one notch, but it doesn't have the slashes all around. But I found that I could sew that just fine. So I'm going to take the notch and match the notches. And then if you want to pin this next part, you can, but you know I tend to be anti-pinning. What you want to do is you're going to match these edges up, and it's okay if the bottom piece extends off about 1/4 of an inch. That's all right. And I'm not going to match the edge either. I want to show you how I sew it without the pin. So I have a tail in here. I usually leave a tail in my machine. I like to leave my needle in the fabric when it comes up, so it doesn't come up. And I'm just going to sew this edge. And like I said, this feels kind of wonky, but it works, and you'll see. I just have to make sure my ends are matched up properly. And I'm also sewing looking at the concave side, not the convex side, and that makes it easier too. So I'm going to take a few stitches here, and then I can just see the edge of the bottom one underneath, but I don't want to see that. I just want them to be as closely lined up as possible. And I always get towards the middle, and it feels like it wants to crease on me, but it doesn't, because the part under the needle is not creased. And I can go right up to the needle. I pull that out, or the pin. And now I'm going to match up this end. As closely as I can. And I'm going to keep sewing. And I'm seeing that my curved edges are matched up. There's no rush. I take my time with this. And if I need to, I can pick up my foot and kind of readjust the fabric. I do that frequently too as I'm sewing it. And I'm going to get another tail here. Trim off the first one. And there you have it. And on this quilt, I did press all the seams to the center. And I will do that and show you the results. And now for the second technique. For this, I take fabric that I like. This happens to be Tulip Pink. I've had it a long time. I bought it at Quiltique in Henderson here in Nevada. And I'm taking my kitchen glass, and the motif I want to copy is actually on the owl's tummy down here. And the glass just will fit. And what's around the glass is exactly what we'll see on the fabric. So I have traced the outside of the glass on freezer paper on the matte side of the freezer paper. The other side of the freezer paper is shiny and you can feel it. It feels a little bit like wax paper. And I will cut this out and I will iron it onto the underside of the motif. So here's one cut out already. And I'm going to iron it on right on the back, right where I want it. Now I'm going to cut around the paper around 3/8 of an inch away. I'm just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to go over to the machine and do 2 gathering stitches around the edge in this fabric seam allowance. And that will allow me to easily ruche the fabric. Let me just even this up a little bit. I will ruche the fabric around and we'll just have a nice circle to apply to another piece of fabric. Okay, I'm back at the machine and this is now ironed on and my motif will be right in the center. And I'm going to sew gathering lines, 2 of them around this circle. And the first one's going to be maybe 1/8 of an inch away. And the second one will be about the same, 1/8 of an inch away from the first one. And I am doing it on a number 4. I'm thinking number 5 was a little too big and it was too hard to control as I went around. And I like to keep my foot dropped in. And there's no rush. I go very slowly. Pull. Okay, I'm about a stitch away. I'm going to leave it like that. I don't want it to overlap. And now I'm going to pull this and give myself some long tails. And I'm going to put this in again. And now I'm going to do the second row of ruching on here. This looks good though. I'm happy with how this turned out. I'm going to try to not catch my stitches from the first go round. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to give myself some tails here. Okay, second go round. I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from the first one. take my time, drop the foot, or the needle, I should say. Okay, that's as close as I want to get. So I have both. And I give myself some longer tails. I can trim this off. And now it's just starting to curve around, but it will do a lot more than that once we start pulling these. We want to start pulling the 4 threads on the top side because these are the bobbin threads. And you will see you have to pull gently so you're not crunching the paper underneath. Oh my goodness. There we go. Nope, I got an extra. I only have 3. Here's the 4th one. Yay. Okay. So now I'm going to pull these 4 threads. Normally do one side at a time. So I'll start with these 2 that lead onto my left. Actually, I'm going to just start with one of these because it's crunching too much. You can see it starts to curl around. And there it is on the back. I'm going to start on the other side. Okay. That one broke. That's okay. We're about there. I'm going to press the seam allowance in. And I'm going to see if I can ruche this just a little bit more. Okay, that will work. I can press it and we'll have a lovely circle. Okay, I'm trimming all the extra threads. I really have a very nicely made circle now. The paper's still in. And I'm going to trim off all those extra threads. And what I want to do now is sew it to my background. So I want it to look even on all sides. It's a 6-inch square that I'm sewing it to. I can just pick a place to start. I'm going to start, maybe I'll just start right. I'm going to go where the thread is lighter. And I'm going to get as close to the edge as I possibly can. Now I can drop my foot, not the foot, the needle. And again, there's no rush here. I use my knee lift all the time. I don't know that I could sew without it. And I overlap that. Pull this out. Can pull my threads through to the back. Give it a nice little tug. And just pull. And a nice tug on the other one and pull this front through. I like to secure it with a double row. And so I'm going to go around again. I could take the pin out now. Could start in about the same place. I go as close to the first one as I can. You can overlap a little bit. Raise it up, trim, and pull these threads through to the back. Okay, that was a lot of sewing. So here we go. This one's done. It looks really nice. This is a throwaway because I got the selvage edge a little too close there, but it's a good practice piece. And this one's also done. It looks really nice. It's a fun technique to do. And I'm going to cut away the back. I'm just careful to make a hole in the middle. I'm careful to make a hole in the middle just by gathering the fabric. The paper is still in there, but if I want to reduce the bulk, of course I want to open it, trim away the seam allowance, and I need to pull that paper out before I quilt it. And you could always make a hole in the paper before you do this technique. Sometimes I just crunch it a little bit. And find a spot. Of course, it doesn't want to do that for me today. Making a hole next time. There we go. You have to get it unglued. And it usually just tears right out. Okay, you can feel where it's perforated. And there we go. Yay! So now I need to press it again to make it nice. But there we go. Thanks so much for making circles with me today. Like the channel, subscribe. You can buy a copy of my book, The UFO Cure, on sacredquilt.com. And remember, everyone can finish a quilt, even you.